Hello everyone, I'm Jason from StrataGames. Today we're playing some more Pauper. This is Rakdos Control. This is a deck that was made by Teasdale originally, I believe. He has a video of that he put out, so there will be a link to that in the description. Make sure to check it out. And then I think Barf, which is a player who is pretty good at Pauper. They often have a lot of trophies every single season. They put out kind of their take on the deck, and this is, I believe, that exact list. So a couple changes there, but overall it is that same kind of control deck. So Rakdos Control, it kind of has the feeling of a Golgari Gardens where we're just swamped, pun, with removal, and then the goal is to eventually kill your opponent in a couple of different ways. So for removal, since we're both black and red, we have Galvanic Blasts, we have artifacts to cover those. I'll get to those in a second. Krark Clan Shamans to wipe the board, and some breath weapons as well to wipe the board. Terminates, which is more or less a cast down, but it can also get rid of Guardians of the Guild Pact, or if your opponent happens to have regenerate creatures. Tithing Blades to make your opponent sacrifice creatures, and then also we can use this as a win con. And a couple Snuff outs. So these are the main ways we're going to be killing all of our opponent's creatures. And then we have, of course, a value package, because every single deck needs one of those. We have Ichor Wellsprings with Deadly Disputes, and a couple Fanatical Offerings to draw just a boatload of cards. We also then have Monarch with one Thorn of the Black Rose and one Crimson Fleet Commodore in order to blow up all of our opponent's creatures, get the Monarch, retain that, and then be able to just outvalue our opponents. And because any control deck running artifact lands is going to be able to use Cleansing Wildfires, we get those as well. So this is just able to ramp us and get us a card as well. So it's a nice 2-for-1 that also helps us hit our Monarch early or anything like that. Since we have a bunch of artifacts, we also have Refurbished Familiar to drain our opponent's cards and then attack them in the air. We have a 1 of Blood Fountain to recoup any of our creatures that have died, and also to power out those familiars quicker. We have 1 Campfire to help us survive against those mono red matchups or anything like that. And then also it can sacrifice to shuffle our graveyard back into our deck if we happen to be against like a control mirror and need to not mill out. We have 3 Trolls of Khazad Dûm, which are, of course, just lands and can get either of our colors, but also is a big beater in the end game. And then we have 6 bridges, 4 Drossforge Bridge, and then a couple of the black, green, and red green ones. The green is not utilized in this version of the deck. It's just so that we have enough artifacts for our Refurbished Familiars, Galvanic Blasts, Krark Clan Shamans, and Cleansing Wildfires, since we use it in so many different ways. We have 1 Rakdos Carnarium just as a little bit of value, including picking up our Bajuka Bog, which can blow up our opponent's graveyard, and we can do that twice with the Carnarium, and then just a bunch of Mountains and Swamps, and a 1 of Geothermal Bog, so that those trolls can grab red mana. In the sideboard, we have some Duresses for any control matchups or combo or anything like that, an extra Snuff out for Glee combo or any creature matchups. Breath Weapon to wipe the board more heavily against mono red, mono white, mono blue fairies, pretty much any monocolored deck you want a Breath Weapon against. Some red elemental blasts for those blue matchups as well. Gorilla Shamans for the affinity matchups. Spell Bombs for graveyards, and then an extra Campfire if you're against mono red or Madness, Burn, or any of those decks that drain your life very, very quickly. This deck is right up my alley. It seems really sweet, so let's jump right into some games. All right, this hand looks okay. We are missing a Indestructible Bridge for the Cleansing Wildfire, but we do have our second land with the Troll here. Let's play a Swamp and pass back to them. Cycle the Troll on the end step. Looks like we're against Grixis Affinity. See how this goes against them. Ichor Wellspring. Let's cycle that Troll. And pick up our black-red land. A little annoying we won't be able to play a 2-drop here, but I think we definitely need that red source. I guess I could have gotten a Swamp, laid down our Wellspring, and the next turn I could Deadly Dispute it. If we don't find a red off of all those draws, it's pretty bad, but we have a good chance of doing so. They're going to Reckoner's Bargain their Wellspring, drawing up to 9. See if they find their second land, or third land, excuse me, but I assume that's why they're doing it right now. They did not, and they're going to discard 2 cards, so pretty good. Lost most of the value off of bargaining, and obviously missed their land drop is pretty good for us. We do have a Cleansing Wildfire. I almost want to blow up their Great Furnace. Most of these affinity decks are playing like only 1 basic, if any. If they're not playing any, it's just phenomenal for us. even if they are, it still sets back their affinity count. I could instead play Wellspring, and that sets me up to Deadly Dispute next turn. But since they're already missing lands, I think this might be the best play for us. And if we're lucky, we'll draw a land off of the Cleansing Wildfire. We didn't, but they also did not have a land to find. So now we're in a great spot. I don't think we need this Snuff out, so let's just get rid of that. We have more Wildfires for if they find any more Mirrodin lands, which is pretty great for us. If they don't do anything here, we'll just get down our Wellspring. And if they don't have anything, they're going to have to discard too. They have a Blood Fountain, but no land there. Tithing Blade. We're not drawing great either, but obviously we're a little better than they are. And that's great. Okay, Wellspring drawing not just a land, but our indestructible land means we can start wildfiring, which is pretty great for us. They do have a familiar here, so they're not out of it by any means. I don't know if this Krark clan is going to do us much good, so let's just pitch that. Terminate. So I want to wildfire our bridge. I also want to kill this. I could just Tithing Blade and then play a familiar, but I just don't want them to, like, if they have another Blood Fountain or another Refurbished or something, they could maybe get up to enough to start putting down some, like, Mirror Enforcers or things. This also makes it so they can Thought Cast, and I really want to keep them off of drawing cards. I could just Galv Blast this instead if I don't draw a land off this Wildfire, but I think we want a Wildfire because that's going to boost us ahead quite a bit, so let's do that. Find a mountain. Got a Deadly Dispute. Yeah, we'll just Galv Blast this now. Next turn, though, I can Wildfire and Deadly Dispute and Refurbish, potentially. Would be pretty good. They do have the other Blood Fountain. Nothing else, though. We got a Swamp, so let's just... I was going to start with a Deadly Dispute. They conceded. They're definitely quite far behind. But who knows? Maybe they would have been able to pull ahead there, but we were just about to have a pretty good turn drawing a couple off our Deadly Dispute. Breath Weapon, not great here. But that's okay. We get Gorilla Shamans for this matchup. We get Spell Bombs, probably. Great that we know these Wildfires just blow up any of their Mirrodin lands, so we have 7 ways to do that with our Gorilla Shamans. I think we can take out the Krark clans, and I don't think we need this Campfire or Breath Weapon. Snuff Outs feel not great either. Terminates I'd be okay with, but I don't know if we need them all. I don't hate Duress in this matchup. They just play a lot of non-creature spells. So we want to have some removal, obviously, but we already have 4 Galv Blasts, 4 Tithings, and now we're bringing in the Gorilla Shamans, so I don't know if we need this many Terminates. Yeah, I think that's okay. I don't want to go too low on removal, of course, but this is still 9, not counting like Gorilla Shamans and things. 9 ways to remove creatures. So I think we might be okay here. Let's give it a try. Definitely want to start with a Gorilla Shaman or Cleansing Wildfire if we can. Oof. This is not a great hand. Mountain, turn 2. We have to cycle the Troll. We can get a Swamp for Duress, but then, like, it's really slow. I guess then we could Tithing and then Deadly Dispute. I don't really like it. I think we'll try to get a better hand here. This one's a little bit better. Not great still. But I think we'll keep this one. Get rid of the Blast. Or just the Tithing. I think we want the Artifact, so I guess we'll get rid of the Blast. The fact that we have a Bajuka Bog early as a tap land, meaning we can't get our Troll into a land, is until next turn is pretty annoying. Otherwise, we'd be able to turn to this Wellspring, and we can't do that, which is pretty frustrating. They have a Blood Fountain and another bridge. Carnarium is not bad. I could just troll for like a red source now, and we're going to Carnarium the Bajuka Bug at some point. But I think there's no downside to just doing it now, so let's do that. We got our Bojuka Bog, which is kind of cool. So next turn we can cycle Troll, probably for just a swamp, play it, and then Wellspring. Or Tithing Blade if they've just played like one creature we want to pick off. They're going to play a bridge and pass back to us. We get another Familiar. Those will be good. So let's cycle this Troll for a swamp. Start getting our artifact count up a little bit for these Familiars. Unless... No, they're just going to Reckoner's Bargain in response. Draw their card. We get a Fanatical Offering. That's not bad. Pretty good. Let's see. We can't Tithing Blade and Familiar, even if they, even if we want a Tithing Blade. But they're just passing it back again. Deadly Dispute's not bad. So I'd rather keep this Bojuka Bog longer if we can. So let's just Deadly Dispute this Wellspring. Trying to get artifacts and another land. There's a swamp. And a mountain and a Wellspring. That's not bad. We are at 10 cards, which is kind of a lot, but... So we might have to discard here. But let's play down another Wellspring. And we're up to 9. Yeah, I guess that's a little awkward. We do have to discard because we only have 2 artifacts. We can't even get down a Familiar. Fair enough. Well, now I think... I don't know if this Tithing Blade is great or relevant. Like, next turn I'd like to play Wellspring and then 3 Familiars. That seems really good. If I could Tithing Blade and then 3 Familiars, I actually don't have enough black for that unless I use my treasure. Oh, and I have to discard another. Maybe the Bog? Because we want the untapped land. I don't love that. I need the Wellspring. Ugh. Not getting rid of Monarch, not getting rid of Fanatical. I guess we have the treasure token to triple Familiar if we really need. So let's get rid of the swamp. Keep the Bojuka Bog. They have the Blood Fountain, so might as well try to keep it around. They have a Mirror Enforcer, so we wouldn't hate a Tithing Blade here, but don't have it. Slagwood Bridge does just mean that opens up our Familiar possibilities. Let's just start with a Wellspring, though. Put us to 3 artifacts. And then there's a Tithing Blade. I think we'll wait on it, though. Let's Familiar. If they have to discard a bunch of creatures with the Familiars, although I'm assuming they're not holding creatures, we probably would have seen them. But if they do, then we could Bojuka Bog after the fact. So they discard a bridge, they discard a Hydroblast. Let's see what else they want to discard. Triple Familiar is brutal. And they're going to lose a Cast Down. So we'll just play Slagwood Bridge, keep the Bojuka Bog around since they didn't discard any creatures. They have another Cast Down, totally fine. I mean, they just went from 5 to 1 card in hand in that one turn, so that's really good for us. And they're going to swing with their Enforcer since it can't block these guys anyway. I think we'll just let it pass since we can Tithing Blade it. And they're going to concede. Yeah, that triple Refurbished was busted. Super strong. All right, this hand looks pretty good. We do have an artifact land with our Wildfire. We want like a Ichor Wellspring or something for this Fanatical, but Gallop Blast is nice. They mull to 6. Vault of Whispers. Looks like another Affinity. We're going to play our Dark Moss Bridge. I guess I should have played the Geothermal Bog. I was wanting the artifact land, but I guess we don't have another red, so I maybe should have just gotten that down. They have an Ichor Wellspring and a Tree of Tails, so it actually looks like a Golgari Broodscale, probably. But they're playing a lot, I mean, relatively, a lot of artifact lands, so that could be really good for our Gorilla Shamans. Not going to be great for cleansing wildfiring them, but that's okay. Blood Fountain, too. Unless they are just some sort of affinity, Jund affinity or something. There's a Mirror Enforcer. Okay. There's another Mirror Enforcer. Okay. So that escalated very quickly. Jund Affinity. Okay. Well, the good news is we have ways to combat Affinity. Bad news is I don't know if we're going to be able to overcome triple Mirror Enforcer on turn 3. Oh, Krark Clan, but we only have one artifact. We don't have Death Touch for it or anything, certainly. Let's start with a Cleansing Wildfire on the Dark Moss Bridge. Get a mountain. Have another mountain. Play it and pass. All right, we have about one turn to see if we can come up with, what, 3 artifacts? Or do we even have a Toxin Analysis in our main deck here? I don't think so. We don't have them in the sideboard. Well, we are down to 8. It is more Affinity, just not what we were expecting. Let's play a swamp, Cleansing Wildfire Bridge, see if we draw anything that's going to get us out of this. Another Fanatical. And just the one bridge. I think we're dead. All right. We could play a Krark Clan Shaman to chump, but we don't have enough artifacts to sack. We don't even have enough for Galvanic Blast to be lethal on one of these guys. So they just had a very fast start there. Yeah, we don't have Toxin in the main deck, and we don't quite have the artifact count for these to hit 4 toughness guys very well. We do get Duresses and Gorilla Shamans again. Maybe even these Spell Bombs. Probably going to be pretty similarly sided. What would they have? Why would they have green in their main deck is the question. It could just be like Carapace Forager. That's pretty outdated tech, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't be doing it. It's kind of a cool thing. It looked super scary to the point where we would want a bunch of like Terminates and stuff, but realistically, they're probably just playing Mirror Enforcers, Refurbished Familiars, maybe Frogmites, and then maybe like Carapace Forgers. So I'm not sure we need to keep in all the removal or anything, although these Galvanic Blasts didn't really do us much good. But I should have definitely, that was a little bit of a mistake. I didn't play the red early, and if I had realized, well, on turn 2 they had 2 lands and a Nicker Wellspring, so I probably wouldn't have Cleansing Wildfired them because I still thought that they were Brood Scale. But if I knew that they were Affinity, I probably would have gone for it. So I don't know. They obviously have Blood Fountain, so Spellbomb feels important for a more late game, but they're probably more aggro mid-range, seeing as that's what you get when you drop the blue. Yeah, I guess we'll go with the Spellbombs over the Terminate plan, and we'll see what we can do there. Not get stomped, ideally. This hand looks okay. We have a Spellbomb, Tithing Blade, Duress. Quite a bit. We're not going to Duress turn 1 since we have this bridge. But we might Duress plus Spellbomb turn 2. And that could be fine. They're on a mold of 5, so that helps us a little bit. Let's see what they got here. Dark Moss Bridge. Galv Blast. Yes, I think we're going to Duress them. See what they're working with. And they got Writhing Chrysalis. That's a reason to be green, I guess. Mirror Enforcer and 2 Reckoner's Bargains. They mulled to 5, so I understand they had to keep it, but man, that is not a very good hand for them. Let's play a Spellbomb. I might just end up Deadly Disputing the Spellbomb to draw ahead. But they have not a lot going on. They drew a Familiar. That's a pretty good draw for them. We're going to need to Galv Blast or Tithing Blade that so that they can't bargain it away. I guess I prefer to have the Tithing Blade on the field, so let's get rid of the Galv Blast. Even though we could Deadly Dispute this turn, I'd rather just have the Tithing Blade to sacrifice to the Deadly Dispute or whatever. So get that off the field. They have these 3 cards, which are not very good right now, and 1 unknown. So yep, they're going to pass it back to us. Duress, we could do that to take out a Bargain, which I don't hate. Let's just start with a Deadly Dispute on our Tithing Blade, though. Oops. And then I could Deadly Dispute again. I could Duress. I could play a Drawsforge Bridge. Let's just play a Swamp and pass. Probably Deadly Dispute on their end step. They're going to Duress us. Okay. We'll Dispute, Treasure. They could take our Duress or our Wellspring since we drew that. I assume they're going to try to take... Oh, they took that one. Okay. I guess they're fine if we take our Bargain. I thought they might take the Duress so that they didn't get interacted with. Oh, that's a Crimson Fleet Commodore. That's pretty good. Let's Duress them, see what that extra card is. It's another Bargain. Okay. So they're down to same 3 we knew before, but now we have Monarch, and that is probably just going to win us the game, I would guess. Not to mention the fact that this guy is only a 4-turn clock on them. We draw a Wellspring. They find a bridge, so one more land would get them a Mirror Enforcer, but we are pulling way ahead here already. Wellspring into Deadly Dispute's going to be a draw 4. Nice Tithing Blade pickup. So we get a Gorilla Shaman and a Cleansing Wildfire. Well, I think that's going to slam this game closed. Put down the Gorilla Shaman to eat the Vault of Whispers and attack for 5. Nice. All right. So they only had bridges there until we drew the Cleansing Wildfire, but we can, of course, Cleansing Wildfire their lands as well. So ideally, we'll be able to do the same thing here. If they don't mold a 5, obviously, you know, we might have more of a game, but hopefully we can blow up their lands all the same. Gorilla Shaman, double deadly. This looks pretty great. Blood Fountain. So we're going to keep it. They mold a 6 again, so having a rough go of it. Another Shaman, okay. We're going to play our own bridge. See what they got. Another bridge for them and a Blood Fountain. So no lands to blow up, but I think I might just Gorilla Shaman their blood token, try to slow them down a little bit. And then if they have to play like a removal spell or something, we can, we have another Gorilla Shaman. So it's not a big deal. I just don't want to get triple Mirror Enforcered again really quickly. And I think this is a nice way to make sure that doesn't happen. So they also don't have any red mana, which is pretty good for us. Passing here, we can blow up this Blood Fountain if we draw an untapped land. Although if we did, they could Deadly Dispute it, so I'm not sure we'd want to do that anyway. We drew a Wildfire. I think we're just swinging for 1, since we can. Troll into a Swamp. And then we're going to Cleansing Wildfire ourselves to try to boost up our mana a little bit since we are have a lot of stuff to spend mana on. Draw a Wellspring, and we'll pass to them. They are going to have to Deadly Dispute that Blood Fountain anyway, so yeah, definitely wouldn't have wanted to waste our whole turn on that. But then they Galvanic Blast off the treasure. So still no red mana, other than that one that they used. And we have a Gorilla Shaman if they go for something else here. They're going to Deadly Dispute a Dark Moss Bridge. That is desperation at its finest, but it pays off for them. They find a bridge of the red variety, and they get a familiar. Okay. What do we discard here? I don't like discarding a Deadly Dispute. It's just so much value. Same with the Wildfire, though. We need the Wellspring for that. Everything's kind of great. I don't know if I want to run out of Gorilla Shaman just to take out a treasure token, but I also don't want to get rid of it here. I could get rid of the Wellspring. It's also great. I mean, all of this is value. I just have to get rid of something that's value. So, 1 Deadly Dispute, probably better than these. Ugh, that hurts so much, but we'll bin it. All right. We draw a Galv Blast. I think we probably just want to take this out so that they can't bargain it. They lose their affinity count. So we're going to start with a Wildfire. I still want more mana. So let's Wildfire our bridge. Get another red source, I think. Draw a Tithing Blade. Okay, well, I was going to Galv and Blood Fountain, but I don't need to run out the Blood Fountain yet, so I think I'll just Tithing Blade, take out their guy. I'm not super worried about it, but this does play around like a Hydro Blast, which they could have on the Galv Blast. The bigger thing is I wanted to use the 2-drop, because 1-drops fit more malleably into your curve and things like that. And I don't want to run out the Blood Fountain in case they sided in like Gorilla Shamans of their own or anything like that. They have a Chrysalis here, so I'm glad I used the Tithing Blade, but Chrysalis does evade Galv Blast pretty well. They sacked a spawn for a Spell Bomb though. So if they sack another spawn and I have Metalcraft, which I'm about to get here, and then I Galv Blast, I can still keep it down. So let's play a Blood Fountain, get that Metalcraft online. I also have a Spell Bomb that I could run out of Gorilla Shaman to blow up, but it's not terrible. We do have that Blood Fountain, but I think I can do that later. I think I just want to keep drawing. And so let's play a Wellspring. And we get another Galv Blast, and we're going to hold up Deadly Dispute. So if they try to play like a 4-drop, like another Chrysalis or something, using this spawn, the trigger to make this bigger will be on the stack, and we can Galv Blast it, take it out, which will be pretty nice. Or if they like Deadly Dispute their spawn or anything like that. So they're going to Troublemaker Oof off the Spell Bomb to exile something. I didn't leave enough mana to Blood Fountain here. That's kind of unfortunate. So they might take out the Blood Fountain. They're going to draw off their Spell Bomb. I think oofing the Blood Fountain, yep, makes the most sense. I do think we will Deadly Dispute it. Obviously, we don't get the value of the Wellspring here, but if we draw another Deadly Dispute, we're going to be happy we still have the Wellspring. Duress is not a bad one here. I could blast this, but then they can sack. I'd have to blast it again. And I don't really want to waste 2 blasts right now, so we'll just take 3 damage. Then again, we might have to do that when we go for this Crimson Fleet, if we do that this turn, but we're going to... Ooh, Tithing Blade's not bad. Because if we Tithing them, it eats a spawn, but in response to the spawn growing this, we can Galv Blast, and we can Galv Blast this. So that's 4 mana. We can't quite do that and Crimson Fleet. I also want to Duress them. So let's see what they're working with. They have Galv, double Mirror Enforcer, which we've been able to hold off, and Reckoner's Bargain. So I think we take the Reckoner's Bargain. Galv Blast kills a Crimson Fleet or something, but if we can get it down, maybe next turn, and take out all of their... Yeah, I don't want them to draw more, so we're going to take that. But if I might be forced to sack this for a Mirror Enforcer. That wouldn't be great for them. Right here. I can't play the Crimson Fleet because I can't quite guarantee I keep it. So maybe I do just Tithing Blade. I think it's fine to do this, actually, yeah. It's a little annoying because it's kind of a 2-for-1 that they get. Tithing Blade for their spawn, and then we're going to blast the Chrysalis. But this still takes them out, uses our mana, and I can blast this. I might just do it now, actually, so that they can't Deadly Dispute it. I think that's better. Because I could just let them have it and then blast it on our turn or something like that, but I'm going to want to kill it anyway because it could trade with this. They get a bridge, so that lets them play a Mirror Enforcer. Okay, so Gorilla Shaman is not looking great here, and if I play this, they can blast it. So I actually need to find an answer for this Mirror Enforcer. So let's just pitch this Gorilla Shaman. Familiar's pretty good. Because now they have to decide if they want to pitch their Galvanic Blast or their Mirror Enforcer, both of which are really good for them right now. They choose the Blast, and now that they've chosen that, I'm going to play a Crimson Fleet Commodore. They have 2 creatures to get past, and all they have is a Mirror Enforcer in hand. That's really good. A Deadly Dispute's a phenomenal draw. We have that Wellspring from earlier. So that's really good for us. They're going to start with a Deadly Dispute on one of their bridges. Again, desperation move. They have a Great Furnace. And looks like another Chrysalis. Okay, they do have that. But Chrysalis only grows to be a 4/5, which trades with this. Of course, if we have to trade it here, it might not be great. We're going to Deadly Dispute first to see what we got going on. So let's do that to see our top 3 cards. See what kind of removal we got. Galvanic Blast. So I think we just blast this Mirror Enforcer right now and make sure we have 3 artifacts still. Yeah, 2 Tithings and 2 Bridges. So we'll do that. Since this Crimson Fleet can trade with the Chrysalis, I prefer to save it for that. We keep around our Monarch. I could play a Troll here. Kind of makes it so they can't even attack. Or I could just Deadly Dispute. I think Troll might be fine, though. Because I could whiff on the Deadly Dispute, which wouldn't feel great, and I get just a nice Troll down here. I could just swing for 5, actually. I think that's okay. Troll holds back the Chrysalis. If they draw a cast down or something to take care of the Troll, I can still chump here. But getting in for 5 feels really good. Draw an island. Not an island, that's not even in our colors. Draw a swamp. They got a familiar. Totally fine, we just got this swamp to pitch. Boom. And we know they have a Mirror Enforcer, which they can play, but nothing that's going to get them the Monarch this turn, which is great for us. And now, with all this mana, we can do a Deadly Dispute and draw a bunch of cards. So I think that worked out pretty nicely. Duress is not great at this point, but that's okay. Get rid of one of our Tithing Blades. Fanatical Offering, let's use that on the treasure. Save the Tithing Blade in case we might use it. We get another Troll. Can't quite play it this turn. But let's just Wellspring. And get a Familiar. That draws us another card as well. Because they can't discard. Get a Carnarium. What a turn. I can map token up one of our guys. It doesn't look like the extra power or toughness actually matters on any of our guys. Everything would still trade for everything that it already trades for. I guess it could just draw us a card, though. Sure, let's put it on this Troll. See if we draw a card. No, but it's a Refurbished Familiar. We'll keep that on top. Pretty nice. So I could attack for 7. Or I could attack with a Crimson Fleet, though. Because if they attack with everything else, we can block here. We can chump if we need to. Yeah, I think hitting them for another 5 feels pretty good. If they get a cast down, we have to double chump to keep the Monarch. But then I can attack back with the Crimson Fleet. I guess it's probably just safer to not. We have a Troll and a Familiar coming up, so we know we're just going to outvalue them. I like to try to finish the game as quickly as we can, but we just know that we're going to be ahead here, so I don't think there's any reason to potentially throw anything away if they get a pretty good draw here. And looks like another Chrysalis. That's going to make things good. Actually pretty good that we buffed up this Troll, because it now does trade with the Chrysalis even through 4 spawn. So just in case they want to sack all of them, it can still trade with one of them. Then again, they'll have another 6/7. We have a Troll and a Familiar in hand, so I think we're going to be okay. They just got to pass it back to us. Cleansing Wildfire, probably going to use that on a Furnace, if I'm honest. I don't really need more mana. Let's start with a 1-drop 2/1 that draws us a card. We get a Spell Bomb. It's not bad. Let's Cleansing Wildfire their Great Furnace, see if they got any basics in their deck. And they do have a Swamp. Okay, good for them. Let's 6 mana. I guess we'll just play another troll. We don't need to play a Spellbomb or anything here. Play our Dark Moss Bridge and pass. I should probably flip this Tithing Blade because we're not currently like actively winning. And Tithing Blade will take a bit, but it will get there. But I think we're going to be okay. They do get a Reckoner's Bargain. That's a pretty good draw for them. Sack a Spawn. See what they come up with. A Bridge and sacking another Spawn. Or a Reckoner's Bargain. Okay, they're chaining them a little bit. Growing their guys. Or a Refurbished Familiar. Not bad. Let's get rid of this. They still have a card in hand, actually. Is Duress going to be worth it? I don't think so, but this is already 2 land drops, and we don't need that many land drops. So on the off chance that we're able to snag a removal spell or something with this Duress, we'll keep it. Draw another Spellbomb. Let's start with a Duress, see what they got. Let's say Bridge, no problem. We'll Spellbomb, crack it, blow up their graveyard. Draw a Wellspring. We should probably check what we have left in the deck. We've used 1 Tithing Blade and 1 on the field, so we have 2 more of those. We have at least, I think, 1 Terminate. Used 3 Galv Blasts. And Gorilla Shaman doesn't even do too much here. So we are pretty close to the end of stuff, so we definitely need to flip some Tithing Blades. It's going to cost 5, so might as well play this Wellspring. See what we draw first, in case it's relevant. It's just a swamp. So let's flip a Tithing Blade based off of using this Gorilla Shaman. Play a Carnarium, bounce a Swamp. And still swing with this Troll. I mean, it's probably going to trade for 1 creature. But we are going to need to get in. Probably should have tried to swing with this Commodore when it could swing. Now it really can't. So, yeah, let's get in for 7. They got to trade either a Chrysalis or like 3 other guys for it. So I'm assuming they're going to go a couple Chrysalises. No, maybe they just keep their 2 big guys, lose all their artifacts. They don't even want to lose their spawn. Okay. This seems like a good trade for us. I guess if they have a... what's it called? A Blood Fountain, and we didn't play our Spellbomb. So if they have a Blood Fountain, they could get these back. There's our Terminate, though, which I'd prefer to be able to use on a Chrysalis. They have a Wellspring. Okay, so no Blood Fountain this turn, which is pretty good. I guess they could have untapped land, and with the spawn they could still use it, but looks like not. They do have a Mirror Enforcer. See if they want to swing. Nope. They are hoping we mill out, I guess. Consuming Sepulcher hits them for 1. We get another Wildfire. Start with that. See how many basics they do have in their deck. Just the 1. Okay, Bojuka Bog is going to be nice at the end of this turn. I guess we have the Spellbomb already for that. So I could cast this down and swing with the team. They can block this here. They have to take 6. If they block this here, they also have to take this. So they would block one of these birds, block here, so they're taking 11. That's pretty good. I think that's worth it. Deal 11 to them. This finishes them up in a couple turns. They can take back the initiative, the monarch. They can take it for 1 turn, but if we're putting them to 2, I think that's okay with me. So yeah, these are the blocks I anticipate. Put them to 2. We'll play a Bojuka Bog to clear their graveyard just in case they have a Blood Fountain on top. And we'll draw a card. I should probably play the Spellbomb, even if we're not probably going to use it right away, but I guess we probably don't need to get rid of their graveyard again, so just drawing another card could have been okay. But they concede. We definitely were able to get them pretty good there. This hand looks pretty good. We have the Campfire if we're against like a mono red or anything like that. We have Terminate for an early big creature, and then we just have a lot of card draw. So we're going to give this one a go. Opponent on the mull to 6. It's going to start with a Hickory Woodlot. Don't like that. That renders a lot of our hand null. I'm assuming that this would be Poison Storm. Could also just be some other weird not Tron, but like turbo deck. But Island, Hickory Woodlot, Everflowing Chalice makes me think Poison Storm. And that's a contentious plan. So suddenly Campfire doesn't matter, Terminate doesn't matter. These cards are irrelevant. Blood Fountain doesn't do a lot. We just need to draw, I guess, right now. Galvanic Blast could matter if we can get the burn win. So Thorn of the Black Rose, getting us the Monarch could be good. There's the Prologue to Phyresis right away. So we're on a clock that's going pretty fast here. They tap for 2, play another Chalice, and they have the green if they want to go for, what's the 1-drop? Thirsting Roots. There it is. So now they've got a bunch of mana. This isn't dying. 2 mana even. Oh, Island. Almost out of cards. Cart Clan's pretty irrelevant too. We got to Deadly Dispute. We need to hit our land drop and get some guys down. Familiar could be really good, although we don't... Oh, God, of course. We whiff on our land drop off of 3 draws, and then we only have 1 artifact, so we can't Familiar. I could Fountain, I guess, so that next turn we can Familiar. That's pretty bad. I don't mind having to discard a couple because some of these cards are so irrelevant, but this is definitely not good. Yeah, I guess we'll go with the Fountain so that we can Familiar for 1 or 2 next turn. And we'll pass. Cleansing Wildfire could be decent. Like, we can blow this up. They have a Steady Progress on the end step. I'll get rid of the Campfire and Terminate, I think are the most useless, because like at least Cart Clan attacks. And Galvanic Blast burns them. Alright. They have a Pentad Prism. And they're going for black, so that's probably, yep, Infectious Inquiry. That's no bueno. Another Prism. Another Inquiry. Lucky them. We just need all 3 of our Galvanic Blasts and 1 more artifact. They play a Scary and pass to us. 2 cards in hand. Okay, so we can play a Familiar, but that uses our whole turn. But we get rid of 1 of their 2 cards in their hand, and we can start hitting them for a little bit. We could Cleansing Wildfire, but we can't even get our own land for ourselves. So we have to blow up their green, which doesn't matter as much now that they have Pentad. I mean, mana is still important to destroy, but we only take them off of 1. I think we got to take them off a card. We're already halfway there, so I'm going to Familiar and hope that them discarding cards could be super relevant. It's a land, so probably not. But this hand started looking really nice, and then no lands and half of our cards being irrelevant. Definitely threw it in the trash. Prologue. Again, we're up to 6. They have the Vivisurgeons, so draw 3, proliferate. That's probably going to do us in. What do we have to sideboard here? Duresses are nice. Gorilla Shamans are nice. Red Blasts. Okay, we have a good amount. They have another Vivisurgeons. I mean, we're not going to scoop until they finish it, but looking like we're going to die real soon here. Another Prologue. They could probably just do it right here. And there's an Augury. All right. What a game. So we get to take out all of our removal. It doesn't matter. Even Tithing Blades are going to be way too slow. Galvanics are fine-ish. We'll see what we have to put in. So Duresses and Gorilla Shamans all come in, as do Red Blasts. Snuff Outs are also bad. So Spell Bombs are better than that. Campfire's not good. So yeah, I think we keep Quark Clans because they can be deadly disputed and they can at least attack for 1. Over Tithing Blade, which can be deadly disputed but costs twice as much, and there's no way we're flipping it for a relevant win con, I don't think. Yep. All right, let's do it. Gonna be on the play. Get a Red Blast, 2 Wellsprings. It's not great. I mean, we could Red Blast their first prologue, potentially, which could keep them off it for a while. So I guess we'll try that. Frostforge Bridge and pass. Probably got a Peat Bog here, yep. We get a familiar, so we're going to play the bridge. We don't want to tap out for a Wellspring here in case they try to give us a poison counter. I guess with the Peat Bog, they can give it to us with Infectious Inquiry, and we can't do anything about that. Everflowing Chalice for 1. And another Peat Bog. I mean, if they're stuck on black, that'd be pretty good for us. We get a Swamp. So let's play a Wellspring. I can play a Familiar. Cleansing Wildfire would actually fix their mana if they're stuck on black. I think we're just going to pass here. It's most important that we don't get poisoned, so let's try to do that. There's an island. So they're going to start with a Pentad Prism. Can't do anything about that. And then they're just going to pass. Okay. Deadly Dispute. Let's play a Swamp. And I think we just hold up Deadly and Red Blast here. So let's Familiar. Try to make them discard a card. See if they have any counter spells or anything they want to throw out. No. So they discard a Bring the Ending. They actually do have the counter spell. Okay. Fair enough. Pass to them. They have the prologue. We're going to try to blast it. Keep them from poisoning us. And they have a forest and pass to us. We're going to Deadly Dispute. They could have another Bring the Ending, but that's not the end of the world. We can like cleansing and stuff. Gorilla Shaman's pretty good. We can blow up the Everflowing Chalice. Cost 5 to blow up a Pentad, or I could blow that up. Might be better. Pentad's really good. But let's see if the Gorilla Shaman resolves. It does. We'll just take out the Chalice and Thorn, I guess, to try to stick a bunch of cards in our hand. And the next turn we'll blow this up. If our guys are still around, they could have like a Breath Weapon or something. Thirsting Roots. Keeps their Peat Bogs alive. So they get to go off a little bit here. So tap in 5. Feels like another Vivisurgeon's Insight. Yep. Proliferate, draw 3. Good news is, though, we are not poisoned. So their proliferates are fine and good for their mana, but they don't actually help them kill us until they have poisoned us. So just that one blast could definitely keep us alive here. And if they pass here, I'm going to spend 5 and blow up this Pentad Prism. That's for sure. So let's swing for 4 and spend 5 mana, blow this up, and I guess I'll just play a bridge because they don't have anything in the graveyard that matters, and we'll draw a card. I mean, Gorilla Shaman is great in this matchup if we can get it. So we're not in a terrible spot here. Let's see what they can do. They're tapping for 6 off the bat. Ooh, this is a new one. Drowned Diner. Draw 3, discard a card, plus they can tap and stun, a double stun a creature with the Meat Locker. That's not bad. They discard a Chalice because they know it just gets blown up. And they do activate right away, tapping down our Familiar. Okay, slows down the aggression a little bit. I think we just start blowing up their lands with these Cleansing Wildfires, right? Hamper their mana. Oh, in fact, if we blow up both Peat Bogs, they probably don't have any way to get black, unless they have a swamp in the deck, but I feel like they probably won't. In which case, they can't Infectious Inquiry us, which is one of their main ways to poison us. They got an island, so let's do that again. Get rid of the other one. So we cut them off half the mana for those, and we're able to take away their black mana. Deadly Dispute. Let's attack for 2. And see what they got. We're not killing them super quickly, but we are disrupting them a lot. So hopefully we get down a Troll next turn and can finish up the game in a turn or 2. They have another Insight, but now they only have 2 lands to buff up and still no poison. Oh, they do get to continually proliferate stun counters. That's why this card's really good in this deck. So this Familiar's probably just gone out of the game, but that's okay. 3 mana for Steady Progress. Yep, buff this guy. Buff this guy again. Another stun counter. Up to 7 cards in hand. Still no black mana, though. We get a bridge. So let's just start with a Deadly Dispute. I don't mind discarding lands here if we need. And we're probably going to play a Troll. We also get a Gorilla Shaman if we want to play another one of those. I think I'll keep it just in case they have like a breath weapon, unless it changes the math. Let's play an untapped land. Attack for 2. So they are at 10. Troll is going to be 8 from these, and a Gorilla Shaman doesn't change the math. They'll still be at that regardless. So I think we'll just leave it in hand just in case. Probably won't really matter, but on the off chance that they have like a way to kill this, like a breath weapon, and then are able to play more artifacts and actually start coming back into the game, I'd like to have an answer for those. There's an Augury. Anticipate plus Proliferate. Looking for the poison, or maybe they just now need that black mana. Like I said, able to get rid of both Peat Bogs was pretty nice. They found the prologue to Phyresis. So we are poisoned, and we can't necessarily kill them next turn unless we draw a Galvanic Blast, which we are going to draw 4. But I will say if we can't kill them this turn, there's definitely a chance that they could kill us. I really wish this Thorn was... Well, I want to say I wish this Thorn was the Crimson Fleet Commodore. It would have then just been the one to get tapped down, but then that Familiar would have been dealing an extra damage each turn. So that would have made the difference between turns. They play an Everflowing Chalice for nothing here, and then they play another one. They're probably just adding to Storm, so they're just going to weather the storm, gain a bunch of life. Yep, I guess it is called Poison Storm for a reason. That's pretty annoying. So 28 damage, and we found our Galvanic Blast, of course. So I can blow these up, but they don't actually do anything, so there's really no reason to. Let's just attack for 8. Puts them to 20. Amazing. So if we play another Troll, that's going to be 14 damage. And we have a Galvanic Blast, so not quite lethal. But if we draw another Galvanic and they can't... I mean, they still have to give us 8 poison next turn. That is definitely a huge feat. And there's a Galvanic Blast, so... Let's play this Troll. And we might be able to get them next turn. I think, seeing as they ran these out and everything, I think we're just going to play this Gorilla Shaman too. Just in case. So a familiar would have been nice to have. I thought about Deadly Disputing. Maybe we should have. But we did need to get this troll down to have a shot at a kill here. Thirsting Roots. It's going to be their first spell of the turn. Proliferate everything. And they're just going to pass. I mean, that's a good sign, I think. We're going to attack for a bunch. 15, I think. Puts him to 5. I don't want to just go for the Galvanics, because if they have another Weather the Storm, then they're going to be okay. So I'm going to play a Familiar, make them discard a card. Can also be good if they try to go for a Weather the Storm at the end step. I can kind of like bait that out. Let's Deadly Dispute this, see if we draw like another Galvanic Blast, or maybe another Familiar. Blood Fountain's not great, actually, because we don't have anything in our graveyard, because they don't kill any creatures. I guess it can cycle. I don't want to necessarily build up a big storm for them, but if they have 2 more Weather the Storms, they're going to get us, and they're going to get us really good. But if not, we'll be okay. Discard this Geothermal Bog. Draw Kark Clan. Don't think there's a reason to play that, so let's just play a Mountain and pass to them. Draw Monarch. I think we just pass. We have a lot of Storm here, so if they go for Weather the Storm, we can try to Galvanic in response. They don't. So in that case, we probably try to Galvanic. We probably just don't try to Galvanic them, right? We just wait until we can attack for lethal, unless it looks like they're going to win or gain a bunch of life with like a Weather the Storm. But if they're not doing that, we're just gonna, yeah, okay. So they were not able to get there. That first Red Blast was super key. We didn't have a ton of follow-up, so, I mean, we are a control deck against a control deck, so we're not really meant to win super fast, which is the problem here. So I guess a Tithing Blade could have been okay in that match, but the life gain doesn't matter, and the life damage, the 1 damage a turn is just as much as a Kark Clan would deal, so I think we're still fine. Campfire doesn't do anything good, so yeah. Alright, let's see if we can do something similar this game. We do have a Cleansing Wildfire, which could be good value, but that's about it. Like, if we can take them off a color plus one of their big lands, it's good. Into a Wellspring. I don't... It's tough, because we just have good mana and stuff, but I think we got to get rid of it. This one's so close. If one of these trolls was a real land, we could keep it, but no. This hand's not very good, but we can't go below this, so should have stuck with the first one. Opponent also on a Mold of 5, though, so that's the good news. We get rid of 1 mountain, and I guess a Galv Blast. Doesn't do anything till the very end game. We might want it then, but I think we need to play for now. Cleansing Wildfire could be okay. We get a bridge. They have an island into a woodlot. Okay. Wellspring. Question is, should I just blow up this woodlot? I think yes. I think the first land's pretty important. And they probably have forests. We've probably seen some, so they can probably, yeah, do that. So we can't cut them off the mana, but at least we can cut them off. We can't cut them off the color, but we can cut them off the 2 mana. There's a Scary. Passing to us. I bet they're going to prologue here. Certainly going to if they have it. They're only at 4 cards, though, because of that mulligan. So, do I just play a Familiar? No, because I can make that 1 mana. But I need to start damaging them as quickly as possible. Yeah, let's bridge and play the Familiar. The 2 damage that we miss by playing this a turn later could definitely matter. They have an Augury. That's way better than a Prologue, because we don't have the poison yet. Which means they have to find it, or, again, find black mana for their Infectious. So, then they're going to have to discard a card, which is pretty good when they're at 4. It's going to be a Thirsting Roots. That's a real card. Not just an excess land or something. They have the peat bog here. And pass to us. We get a Carnarium. Let's start with a Wellspring. See if we draw anything good. Red Blast is not bad. Yeah, we're gonna swing for 2, play this Carnarium, and then hold up the Red Blast for the rest of the game until we use it. Just bounce this mountain and pass. They have the Infectious, unfortunately. I really wish that was a Tamio's, not Tamio's, a prologue to Phyresis. It has Tamio in the art, so it's basically the same. We're going to keep this Troll because we might need it. Another Red Blast is not bad, but not quite what we need. Let's play a Fanatical on this Wellspring to draw 3. And Troll. Ugh. I kind of want to leave up 2 Red Blasts, but I also kind of need to get these Wellsprings down to draw more. Ugh, another Familiar. That speeds up our clock, but I think if they play like a Tamio's, I keep saying that. If they play like a Vivisurgeon's Insight this time, that's really bad. And I think having a Red Blast for that is pretty important. So I think we're going to save it. Unfortunately. 2 mana, they have the Pentad Prism. I'd really love a Gorilla Shaman too here. But they're going to pass after that. That's not too bad. Crimson Fleet's okay too. That's a aggressive creature that gets us the Monarch. Swing for 2. And I actually think maybe I just want to play Wellspring and Familiar. Seeing as they don't have a lot going on, I want to keep that happening with the Red Blasts, and I can double my pressure with this Familiar. And if they go for anything, like if they also have a counter spell, then we can blast them. Because that's the thing, is I think they're going to have a counter spell. They discard a land, which means we might need to have 2 Red Blasts for a single target spell, essentially. Doing something on the end step here. Steady Progress. They still have the mana to use that counter spell if they have it. I think a Steady Progress is fine. I kind of want to go for it, but I don't know. It doesn't feel quite worth it. Well, we'll see if they do another one here. Experimental Augury. I think that one, giving them a choice to find something, we are going to counter. It also proliferates, of course. Okay. They didn't try to counter back. They weather the storm here. Okay, well, that's bad. But they're down to 1 card in hand. So that's good. Especially if we can counter like a draw 3. Contentious Plan. Not a draw 3. Just a draw 1. Ugh. What? Yeah, but it proliferates. It keeps this peat bog alive. I think we're going to counter it. I might regret this. We'll see. But we need to slow them down. I can Cleansing Wildfire their Scary here, so they lose out on some blue mana. And I can Crimson Fleet Commodore. I think I prefer to get the Commodore down, though, so in case they do have that counterspell, we're going to play this first. Since we have 2 mana up. Then we're going to Wildfire the... I could take them off black again. Oh, but they have the Pentad, so it's not that big of a deal. We'll get rid of the Scary then, because I prefer they don't have more blue. Duress. Pretty good card, although can't play it here. Double Duress. Okay. If they do manage to get like a draw 3, Double Duress can definitely help us get back into it. They have the Inquiry, though. So we're up to 3 poison. Down to 24, though, and we have 9 damage each turn. So that's only a 3-turn clock. Which is pretty good. They play a Hickory Woodlot. And just pass. So we're going to start with a Duress. We want to see what's going on. And they have the Bring the Ending this time. And now we're corrupted, so it counters regardless. But we're going to Duress again. Take the Pentad Prism. They are out of cards. That's phenomenal for us. We only have 5 here, so we can't quite play a Troll, so I'm just going to Deadly Dispute. See what we come up with. Galvanic Blast is not bad. Another Troll. Let's map token up this Familiar now, because maybe we can deal a little bit more damage. Deadly Dispute staying on top, absolutely. Now we get to attack for 10. We also draw that Dispute at the end step here, so they're down to 14, and we have a Galvanic in hand. So we have lethal next turn. Things are looking good here. They do draw an Experimental Augury. We're going to Deadly Dispute in response, see if we can find a Blue Blast. If not, maybe we're adding to like a Weather the Storm they get, but I think it's worth the risk. We didn't, but we got another Galvanic, which could be pretty good. So we need to fade a... I mean, Weather would keep them alive, but would be fine because they'd be out of cards. More card draw is bad if they get a Vivisurgence here. Yeah, but they're almost out of mana. So we're up to 5 poison. And they're being rude and not proliferating this +1/+1 counter, which is just ridiculous. Play Hickory Woodlot. We're going to go to our turn because we have a big storm count, so we don't want a Galvanic there. Let's attack for 10. And make sure we have the artifacts. I think we're going to Galvanic them here. If they have the storm, it's so bad though. I mean, they need 2 storms. But maybe we just play a Troll. They would need 2 storms. They would need 2 counter spells. I think it's fine if we pass. Again, if they go for a win or anything, we'll try to Galvanic in response. But I don't think we need to force that until we just try to kill them with this. Everflowing Chalice. Kicked once. That's totally fine. If they try to draw 3 here, actually, knowing they have 1 card left in hand, I'm going to Galvanic in response. Yeah, because if they have anything here, then we can respond to it with another Galvanic. Boom. All right, that was closer than I would have liked it to be, but we were able to get there against Poison Storm. All right, this hand is not good. Down to 6. This one's a lot of value. I'm hoping that we're against an opponent where that's where we want to be. But we're going to keep this one. Put back 1 Wellspring. We want our 2 lands removal in case we're against something that needs quick answering, like elves or walls. Okay, that's a Caretaker. Quite scary. Breath Weapon could be pretty good here. We might have to cycle this Troll for an untapped swamp so that we can play the Wellspring and not like lose a turn. But we can get our red off our Deadly Dispute. Winding Way. Okay. Rift Sower, Rubble Fort, and Cerulean Caretaker. They're going to pass. We are going to Swamp Cycle for just a basic. Drawsforge Bridge. So we're going to play that Wellspring. Draw a card. Krark Clan. What a card. Okay, so assuming we're not like almost dead next turn, we can Deadly Dispute, play the Drawsforge Bridge. It's awkward because if we Deadly Dispute the Wellspring, we lose an artifact. We get our treasure back though, but then we have to sack the treasure to play the Krark Clan, which means we only have Drawsforges for 1, and that's not good enough. If we have an extra turn, though, we can play the Drawsforge Bridge, Deadly Dispute. We can do that all next turn with the Krark Clan, and we'll be fine. But Rubble Fort doesn't usually let you have many turns, so we're going to see. Get that down. Play another Caretaker, I guess, maybe? No? Overgrown Battlement. Yeah, this is rough already. An untapped Mountain would be phenomenal. This taps for 3 if they want it. That gets down their Rift Sower, which can cast their Ceruli. At best for us. I'm sure they can do a lot worse than that, though. Lead the Stampede. Well, that's pretty bad, too. They only got 2 off of it, but it is an Axebane and a Grizzly. Really wish we had Death Touch on this Shaman, too. We draw Tithing Blade. Does not do quite what we need it to. Deadly Dispute this. Oh, God. I think we're just short on everything. I think we need to Deadly Dispute here. We could leave it up, bluff the cast down, and maybe they don't go for like a combo or anything, but just not sure that's going to work out. Crimson Fleet, get a Galvanic Blast, but again, we're kind of pinched on artifacts. And yeah. So I think we have to pass here, hope we don't die, and then we can play some artifacts in Kark Clan or Breath Weapon next turn. This Commodore is not going to do it. Way too slow here. So, I mean, the 4 cards in their hand don't win them, that we've seen, don't win them the game, but like Axebane immediately taps for however many. 4 could be more with more defenders, and then if they just have like 1 Transmuter, then we're probably dead. Drift of Phantoms. But they start with the Caretaker, seeing as that's mana neutral, costs them a green and it gives them a green. Once they play the Guardian, it'll be mana positive. Looks like they might be doing that now. Yep, tapping everything but the Overgrown so that they can have it give them more mana. Axebane, so they have 10. These each tap for 5. I mean, if there's a world where we don't die here, we can Kark, which can be 1, 2, and we can Breath Weapon, so 4 damage to everything. We lose, to be fair, most everything that we have. No, wait, we can't play this and play Breath Weapon. So we could Kark. Oh, we would need another land to do it for that. So I could Kark for 3, which is still pretty good. Hits everything but the battlement. But I guess it doesn't really matter if we are dead. So let's see if that's where we're at. They untap the battlement with the Ranger, making for an extra 5 mana. Walking through it slowly, making sure they don't make any mistakes. They have a Forest in hand, plus these 2, and 3 unknowns. Forest is back. I think they should just run out a bunch of creatures and then pass the turn. I think that sounds delightful. Probably what they want to be doing anyway. They have a Leaf Caller. I mean, not super relevant, but we'll see what they got. Looks like they have the Drift, probably. And Vivian's Grizzly is an outlet for infinite mana, because you can just look at the top card, put it into your hand if it's a creature, put it on the bottom if not, so you can go through your entire deck. So if they have Drift, they get freed from the reel, or whatever. They could go for Galvanic Alchemist. Either one is going to combo with this, and yeah. So as long as they go for it, they win. As soon as we see them cast whatever they drift for, we will probably concede. It's just they could make a misstep. It's always a possibility. They're going for the Alchemist, a little bit safer of one because it can combo, it can soulbond with either of these. So they're just going to cast that. Galvanic only does 2 damage is the bad part. We're going to concede. Okay, so we should have a good matchup here. We just drew really poorly. But that's fine. We don't need Campfire. We don't want anything that's late game. Like, even these Monarchs are pretty irrelevant. We'll keep them if we have to, but we really just want a bunch of removal and card draw to find removal. Breath Weapon is... God. Breath Weapon feels like it should be good because they go so wide, but it doesn't usually do enough because even a lot of their 1-drops are O3s. So, I don't know. We might keep those in or out. Gorilla Shaman doesn't do anything. Duress is very hit or miss. Red Blast is okay because a lot of their combo pieces are blue. So I don't hate bringing those in. So yeah, Breath Weapon hits Quirion Ranger, which they play 4 of. They often play 4 Llanowar Elves, and then the Orochi Leafcaller. And then some Jesper Sentinels sometimes. So I think our hits are like 9 to 13-ish. It's not great, but if we have to pair it with like a second Breath Weapon or a Krark Clan in order to get up to 4 damage, I don't think that's terrible either. Blood Fountain doesn't... I mean, it's good with Krark, but it's not great otherwise. Terminates are good. Cleansing Wildfire doesn't do much against them. Like, if I'm using it on their land, it doesn't really do anything. So, obviously it's good for us, but that's for late game, and we don't really want to go late game. We just want to kill all their creatures. So... maybe cut some of the card draw, some of that, and we'll keep this Blood Fountain just for the Krarks. Well, we have 6 artifacts. I do think maybe we need a couple more artifact lands. This version was only playing 6. I think the original was playing 8. So I think maybe we should be back up to 8. And sure, we'll cut that Blood Fountain. We still have 8 2-drop artifacts and 4 Refurbished Familiars, so like we might be okay here. But I guess we'll find out. Walls is the bane of my existence, I will say. This hand looks... it looks like it should be great. Krark Clan only is 1 in this instance. Galvanic can take out... ugh, yeah, we need more artifacts for sure, because like all of our removals based on artifacts, and we don't actually have enough, it feels like, but we gotta give it a try. Unless if all of these were snuff outs, I feel like we couldn't have a better hand in this matchup. So hopefully we'll just draw some more artifacts. I mean, Fanatical can make 1, but it has to sack something to get there. And if it's sacking an artifact, that's no good. And if it's sacking our Krark Clan, that doesn't work either. So we'll see. They kept 7, which is never a great sign, I will admit. Play a Gingerbread Cabin. We get a Snuff out. That's pretty good. I'm just going to play this Swamp. We're not really using the 2 mana, but I'd rather not have to pick up my artifact land if I don't have to, in case we draw more. And also it gets us this Snuff out for this turn if we want it. Although we probably won't use it right here. There's a Caretaker of the Ceruli variety. They're going to pass. We get a Tithing Blade. That's a really good draw. Try to make them lose their Caretaker. And it gets us another artifact. Now we will play our Carnarium, obviously. We're not going to miss our land drop for it. Pick up the Swamp. We can't snuff out this turn, but chances are we shouldn't have to snuff out this turn, seeing as they'll probably just play 1 or 2 creatures and then pass back to us. They might just cast a Winding Way. They pick up 4 creatures. Lucky them. Or no, they had a Winding Way in there, so 3 creatures. Still pretty good. Let's see. So I have a Terminate. I am drawing all my removal, which is good. That's where we want to be. I think I might sack this Tithing Blade to the Fanatical, but it gives us another artifact back, so it's fine. But we're definitely going to save that map for the Krark. Bajuka Bog is fine. We also get a Wellspring, and we do want to hit our artifacts, so let's play that. Boom! All right, it only took some very careful consideration and drawing correctly, but we got up to 3 artifacts. So Galvanic online, Krark Clan, pretty good here. We also have a bridge, so we can even go up to 4 if we need it. They're going to cycle that Generous Ent for a forest, play that, I'm assuming. Get an Overgrown Battlement. Just the 1. And then an Obsidian Acolyte. Protection from black. That's fine. It doesn't have protection from red, though. Perfect. That's pretty funny. And another Snuff out. So that just dies to a Breath Weapon or a Krark. What are the chances they can go off this turn? Feels like low. Plus we have... I mean, I could... If I need to, I can Breath Weapon this away, and then I can, like, Snuff out if they were really going to win here. So I think we're fine to just play a bridge and pass. We have 6 removal spells in hand. So I don't really want to play the Krark Clan because it's going to tip them off. They're going to be a little more cautious. But, look, if we cannot win against walls with 6 removal spells, 2 of which are board wipes, we're probably not winning anyway. This has got to be the best position we can be in. Although if they play a Crimson Acolyte, things are going to get awkward, I will admit. I think if they play that, we're going to Breath Weapon in response to kill this so that we can snuff out the Crimson Acolyte. That'll be pretty funny. They're tapping for 6. Are they just going to slam down a Generous Ent? Yes, they are. Okay. That is interesting. Play a Forest. Attack for 1. We'll take it. On the off chance they throw down a Quarian Ranger here and we can Breath Weapon them both away. They're not going to take it. So we are going to need to deal with this because it's just going to start attacking us. So part of me wants to just Galvanic Blast this because it's a single target and Breath Weapon hits more creatures, but the chances... They do have one toughness creature we know, but they don't have a lot, I don't think, as we've mentioned. So I think I'm just going to Breath Weapon here. And then keep the Galvanic as a single target for like a battlement or something. But Breath Weapon takes out the Acolyte. And then we can snuff out the Generous Ent if we really need. Looks like they might have something here. Could have a Hydroblast. They could have like a Hollow. Sometimes they're splashing that. Or just like a Negate. They got options. They're going to let it go. And I mean, I could Galvanic any of these now, but it doesn't kill this, and it kills either of these even if they don't have the damage marked, so I think it's fine. We draw a Mountain. So let's just... Bojuka Bog them. Get rid of some things there. There's not usually going to be a time where we can Bojuka Bog them for like amazing value, right? Like usually when they are storming off, they're transmuting in the same turn, so we're usually not going to be able to get those guys or anything. So I think I'll just do it now, get a little bit of value. And if we draw a Spell Bomb, then that's a different story. But I think we're going to pass. We'll probably snuff out this Generous Ent. Maybe not right away. Could definitely wait on it. They're going to crack a food token. Or we're going to let them. Their main goal, unless they've switched like with their sideboard, is not to Generous Ent us to death. So I'm not too worried about like taking one hit there. They do have a Sentinel. Okay. And the Ranger, so it's possible that I should have kept the Breath Weapon. But it's also possible that Galvanic can kill something that I prefer to kill a little more. They're going to Cerulean Caretaker for blue, untap it with the Gingerbread Cabin, play that again. They can keep getting food tokens with that for another blue. So it looks like they're transmuting. That's acceptable for a lead the Stampede. So they're just going the value route. Sure. Drift of Phantasms and a Roachy Leafcaller. Well, I mean, their drift into lead got them back adrift and an Orochi. I think we're going to just terminate this. Snuff outs are free, so we might as well keep those. And we just draw a swamp. Well, we'll play a mountain. I could Krark Clan, but this just isn't quite what we want to be Krarking, I don't think. I think we'd prefer they just commit more to the board. If there are problematic creatures that are going to win them the game, we have the single target removal for it, and then we'll try to clean everything up with the Krark. But with the Leafcaller, they can go for drift into, you know, whatever. They could Reap in the Graves or something. They could go for the combo. Leafcaller and an Overgrown can make blue, drift for Freed from the Real or Galvanic Alchemist. Either way, we should be able to stop it. But we'll see. We would just love to draw like a Deadly Dispute, obviously. We draw us 3 into whatever. Like, you know, a Troll would be okay if we can get that down and start attacking them. Refurbished Familiars would be really nice, so we discard some of their cards. It's just we're only drawing land and removal, and I can't complain about the removal, but I would love to draw something else too. So we got to make something happen. They're going to play the Leafcaller. Would love to have a Breath Weapon here, but that's how it goes. They are going to drift away for another Lead the Stampede. Again, just going for the value. I guess they just need more pieces. They probably anticipate that we have the removal, seeing as we have a bunch of mana and a bunch of cards. So they're just going for the value play instead. Untap the Overgrown with the Gingerbread. Get some more food. And they're going to lead the Stampede into Crimson Acolyte, so they did side those in as well. Valakut Invoker, Genersant, and a Barra Sentinel. Good news is, since we're playing both black and red removal, these guys, they kind of have to have both of them for them to be really effective, because if they play this now, I can't Krark everything, but I can just snuff out the Acolyte, and then I can Krark everything. So that's totally fine by us. Ideally, they'll just play out a few of these guys. There's the Acolyte. And they're just going to pass, leaving up their protection. 6 cards in hand. I think we do need to take out this Acolyte. So let's snuff it out. We get a Terminate. Okay, more removal. That's still 3 pieces of removal. Feels like we can probably still stop them from winning through that. So, like, maybe we just wait on the Krark Clan again? I gotta get as much value out of it as I can. Playing it now, I could sack 4 artifacts, wipe the board, but with 6 cards in hand from them, I'm just not confident we're going to actually be able to win there. So, I don't know. I think we just keep holding out until we really need to go for it. There's a caretaker. Tap and untap their battlement. Replay their cabin. Gonna get sick on all those cookies sooner or later. Although I guess it makes it look like it's a hearty stew instead. Gonna play a generous ent. They got it. I mean, the thing they do have going for them, in addition to like a million creatures, is a lot of food. It's gonna take us a while to actually finish up the game if we do manage to get the board state under control. There's a sentinel. I mean, ideally they just run out a bunch of creatures here and we can, you know, we can finish it up, but we will see. Looks like they're maybe trying to reap the graves. So, yeah, added 3 to storm here. Reaping for 4 targets. They get back their acolyte, both drifts, and a generous ent. That's pretty bad, I will admit. Didn't even have to transmute for the reaping the graves. So, probably going to play their acolyte again. We can snuff that out, so not a big deal. And I think we have to. Obviously, we need to Krark Clan at some point here. They do have double transmute in hand. But if we're able to wipe away all of these guys, transmute, they don't have any blue. We're not going to get up to 7 for this generous ent, so I think we might as well terminate that. Mark a Galvanic Blast, but Blast kills just about anything except an ent. Oh, we're not going to have any artifacts, though. So Blast is going to get really bad. Actually, we should keep the Blast, use it on the ent, and then sack everything. And then we should terminate. Slagwood Bridge. I guess that's another artifact. It is another bridge, though, or another land, which we have gotten a million. So we're going to Krark here for 4. I don't really think we can wait any longer. So let's Galvanic Blast this generous ent. And then go for it. Start with the Wellspring, draw a card off of that, see what we get. Get a Familiar, which is about to cost a bunch of mana. What bad timing. But we're going to sack Bridge, Map, or would I prefer to just have the map over the lands? Have a 3/2. Honestly, we don't need this many lands, right? What's 1 map matter? Sure. Let's just sack these bridges. Alright, try to clear the board. See if they got something to interact. Looks like no. Nice. Alright. Well, we'll play a Familiar, make them discard a card. And I guess we'll keep the map. I could use it on the Familiar. We're going to keep it. We probably should have kept a bridge. But I'll keep it in case we get a Deadly Dispute or a, you know, whatever, another Krark Clan or something. So here, they could totally just come back. If they just have some more ways to make colored mana, they're going to be golden. But we do know that they have a Valakut Invoker, a Drift of Phantasms, and what else did they pick up? The Crimson, which they used and got rid of. Let's look back at what else they got from the Reaping. Crimson, Drift, Generous Ent, and Drift. And I don't think that was the same Generous Ent. So I think they have a Generous Ent, a Drift, a Valakut, and 3 unknowns in hand. At the very least, they could just throw down a Generous Ent. Yep. We can terminate it, but we're going to save that for now. Another Familiar's not bad. Let's make him discard another card. It's another Drift. Part of me just wants to terminate this Generous Ent and it start attacking for a bunch. And we will have to do that at some point if they just start attacking us. But I think we'll just take it for now. and save this, because if they just happen to go like Axebane and Freed from the Real, then they could just win. And I'd rather they don't do that. That's a Rift Sower. That is a little bit of colored mana. Taps for one of any color, so just another swamp is not where we want to be. I think we got to use this map token now. If we draw a Deadly Dispute, we can use it on a familiar if we need to. We're going to crack a food. We get a Red Blast on top. We're going to bin that. That's not what we need. And we're going to swing for 5, I guess. Not that there's any way we're winning this race. Oh, I should have played a swamp there. Oops. So I think we got to terminate the Ent now, probably. Oh, Winding Way. I mean, if they just Winding Way into stuff, we're lost. Yeah, Rebel Fort, Overgrown, Obsidian Acolyte. Very interesting. I mean, they can play the Acolyte, but they can't actually, like, utilize it. Play a Rebel Fort. That's fine. Then they can play the Overgrown. And I could kill the Rebel Fort, but I think we have to let that go too. I don't think we kill the Generous Ent. I think we have to now save this for the combo stuff again. And we might just have to start chumping the Generous Ent, potentially. Deadly Dispute. Well, I guess we're going to attack for 3. Because why not? This guy's got reach, so we can't really attack with both. They're going to crack a food, so they'll stay at 24. We'll save this as a chump blocker and Deadly Dispute it. And see what they got. I guess if they play the Acolyte, they could just give this pro-black. No, they only have 1 white still. So they get like an Axebane or something. So I guess that's not an option. They can just play a Valakut Invoker as just an expensive removal spell a couple of times. Well, just once right now, but... Swing with the Ent. We're going to block. Let's Deadly Dispute. Draw 2. Another familiar in a swamp. Not quite where we want to be. Obsidian Acolyte. That's fine. Can't stop us from killing anything yet. Crack a food. Crack a food. And pass. Okay. We just draw another mountain, dude. What is with this? I guess we'll play a familiar. We've drawn 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 lands? That's a lot of lands. They discard a 3rd Drift. They have a Valakut Invoker. They've played a Generous Ent. I have to terminate something right now. Otherwise, we can't terminate anything with this Acolyte up. So do we terminate the Generous Ent, which is going to kill us in a couple of turns, but we do have chump blockers for it. Or do we terminate the Rebel Fort, which is more likely to be problematic? We could terminate the Rift Sower, which is the only one that actually lets them tap for colored mana. That might be the one. I think that is the one. And we just have to hope they don't have other ways to make colored mana, which means that our future removal will still be good because this won't work. They have a bunch of mana, but it's all green. Yeah, I don't know. I think we got to do that, unfortunately. And if they do have like an Axebane Guardian, Vivian's Grizzly, I mean, that's not bad. But like Axebane can just tap right away. They use the Vivian's Grizzly, they get a Quirion Ranger, that's pretty good. Play it right away. Untap the Battlement. Gingerbread Cabin again. Activate the Grizzly. They get a Leaf Collar. That's going to make it so they have every color of mana that they want. Oh, and everything has haste. So I have to chump or trade or chump. I guess we trade and take 8 down to 1. I think we would have had a much better shot if we didn't just draw trash for a million turns. I mean, removal was great, but we have to have like a way to kill them in the meantime. 1 Galvanic Blast. We could blast this, but we die to this and this. So, unfortunate. This hand is not great, but we have land drops. We have a little bit of removal. I think we got to keep it. And could be against mono red. Yep, looks like it. 1 Galvanic Blast can hold off some aggression. I think we'll just start with a mountain for that. Definitely a lot of lands to be against Kuldotha with. If we knew it was Kuldotha, we probably would have, mulliganed, but that's okay. They skip through their combat phase. I'd have to draw like Krark Clan to not want to blast one of these, or a breath weapon, so I think we're just going to shoot it. Oh, we have the mana. Probably play an Ichor Wellspring. Yeah, opponent mentions that they meant to attack there. We do draw their Krark Clan. I'm still not upset about it, obviously. It does make it so I could play a bridge here, or I could just play the Wellspring. We're not going to need to Krark for more than 2. So I think we just play Wellspring, and then next turn we can bridge and Krark, and if we need to sack the Wellspring and the bridge, we can do that. There's Refurbished Familiar. We're going to pass. So, of course, we're obviously hoping that they don't have the Kuldotha into Bushwhacker, but we will see. We could have played a Dark Moss Bridge or any of the bridges, and then a Shaman to prevent that, but we were just hoping that wouldn't happen. They crack their blood, discarding a Fire Blast, and then Chain Lightning us. So, Chain Lightning again, down to 13. They're going to hit us down to 9, but they only have 1 card in hand. So, okay. I can just bridge and Familiar to take their card, and then Familiar can trade with this. I think that's fine. I could Krark, but I'm probably going to want to save the Krark for when they have a Kuldotha or something like that. Plus, this is probably the only time we're going to be able to get the last card of their hand, and it was a Bolt, so pretty happy about that. They do get a Bushwhacker, so not great, but we can block here. We're going down to 5. We can play Shaman to wipe the 2 1/1s and draw us a card off of this Wellspring. So hopefully draw something good too. Tithing Blade. I think we just save the Tithing Blade for the next creature that they get. So we'll play a Dark Moss Bridge, play a Krark Clan, and pass. I could sack now and see what we draw off the Ichor Wellspring, but if they draw anything with haste, I'd prefer to be able to blow that up as well. So if they get, I guess they don't have an artifact for a Tomb Raider, but if they happen to play a Reckless Lackey, or if they have a Clockwork Percussionist, all those guys. So we'll block and sack just the 1, draw off the Wellspring. And we drew a Fanatical Offering. I was going to say I would love to draw one of those because we can sack the Shaman. So I don't think there's any way we die here unless they like synth into something crazy, because usually the only 5 damage spell they could have is a Goblin Grenade. And they have a Mountain and just play it. Love to see that. Snuff Out's okay. I want to Deadly Dispute this map. We get another Shaman. So let's play a Mountain here and just pass. in case they do get a haste guy, I can snuff it out and not have to pay life for it. And I don't really want a Krark Clan right here. We can play a Troll next turn. They draw a Galvanic Blast, so that's the bad part. We do need to find life gain if we're to not just die to burn. I guess we could Tithing Blade and flip it. I mean, we die to a Lightning Bolt, but anything they could have with haste isn't going to kill us. Yeah, I think we do. We just need the life gain pretty bad. So maybe we should have played the Tithing Blade earlier, but that's okay. This is what we got to do now. We have the Krark in the graveyard. And hope we survive. See, if they draw a Lightning Bolt or a Chain Lightning, we will die, of course. But they're passing back to us. Looks like we are alive another day. Wellspring. So I could just play a Troll. But I think we'd rather draw into something else. So let's try Wellspring here. Play a Blood Fountain. We're going to pitch a land. Ideally, we find a Campfire here. Okay, we did not. Play our Shaman just in case they happen to get some creatures. Play a land and pass. So yeah, Campfire would be our best draw. Short of that, we're just hoping that this Sepulcher keeps us alive. And they concede. That's crazy. We were not out of the woods by any means. Even if they were drawing like Mountain, they could still definitely have gotten a bolt, like 2 bolts in a row. But that's their choice. We get to bring in the breath weapons and the other Campfire. Take out Snuff Outs because those are no good. I think we take out Monarchs too. Troll's fine though. And Terminate's not very good. 2 mana to kill 1 creature is not really where we want to be. But we can bring in Gorilla Shamans. I don't think they're the best, but I don't think they're terrible either. They can pick off blood tokens, they can pick off Great Furnaces, and even an Synthesizer sometimes, but it also is just a 1/1 that trades. And Duress isn't terrible either. I just don't want to play a Thorn where they can just Lightning Bolt it and then take the Monarch. And Duress is... it's a bad top deck, so maybe a Terminate would be better. But it's not terrible early, because we get a Lightning Bolt or something. I think it's probably fine. Anything else we need to take out? I think everything else is okay. So let's try it like that. And see what we're able to do here. We get a Cleansing, Deadly Dispute, but no interaction. They mulligan to 6. I think we're going to join them. This just doesn't do anything quickly enough. This one's way better. Tithing for a quick early blocker. Fanatical and Ichor Wellspring for card draw. And of course a Krark Clan. They mulligan to 5. We are going to bottom a Swamp. Because we want artifacts. No, this is plenty of artifacts. Let's bottom a Bridge. So we can play a Bridge first, Swamp, Wellspring, or Tithing Blade if they like just go with if they just have some creatures out. Mountain into Percussionist, hitting us with that terrifying drum with a maw. It's like a drum mimic. That's crazy. We draw a Mountain. That's not bad. Let's start with our Bridge though. Pass back to them. I guess there's a world where they just like Kuldotha here, or like just play a bunch of guys and maybe we just Krark Clan. But doesn't look like that's where we're at. They bolt us down to 16, Chain Lightning us. They're at 1 card in hand already because of that mulligan, attacking us down to 12. And so I could just Tithing Blade, stop the damage. Of course they get a card off of it, but that's going to happen at some point. I think we do that. It's possible that I just want to, since this is a 1/1, wait until we Cart Clan it, and then we Tithing Blade, like if they have a Blast Runner or something, but I think this is probably better. And they get an Implement of Combustion. I've seen most Kuldotha decks go away from Implement in favor of Clockwork, because it kind of meets your artifact requirements of like 16-ish in the deck, but looks like they're still on it. They're going to just crack it right away, cycling it. They do get a Great Furnace. And going to raise our swamp. Sometimes that might be a problem. Right now, not a big deal. I'd probably just prefer that over a lightning bolt or something. So we have a Wellspring, and the next turn we can Deadly Dispute the Wellspring, but we also have a million artifacts at this point in this game, so there's another one that we can Cart Clan for as many as we need to when that comes up. Would love to find one of our campfires, or maybe get enough land to flip this Tithing Blade. I guess that raise is preventing us from doing that, but that's okay. They get a mountain off their synth, passing to us. Bajuka Bog. Let's just Deadly Dispute the Wellspring. Draw a bunch. We get a Gorilla Shaman. We could treasure... Yeah, we could play the Shaman now and just blow up their Great Furnace. And that prevents them from playing... Or not playing. It prevents them from using their synth. Unless if they play a land first, in which case they can't play anything off the synth. So I think that's pretty good for us, actually. And then we can blow up the synth next turn if this guy's still around. But they're going to Galvanic Blast it, so that's also fine. We get a land and a blast, still at 11 life. They have to draw a mountain to be able to even activate this, and at that point, it's just 3 mana for a 2/2. They do find it, if they want to go for it. And they do. So now all they have is a 2/2, and no cards in hand. Our only removal spell at the moment is this Cart Clan, though, so it's possible we just want to wait on it. Let's Cleansing Wildfire. I should probably leave up my red just in case. Oh, and I should probably tap a red, though. All right, Cleansing Wildfire, this bridge. I guess I don't need to tap this one to use this, so I could have just... It's fine. Get another red. We draw a Breath Weapon. I think we will... this is instant speed, so I think we're just going to... play a Drawsforge. We don't want to sacrifice our lands here until we flip this Tithing Blade. We'll just pass. We can take 2 here. I think the best they could do is like Fire Blast, which would be 6, or maybe a Bushwhacker, which is 3. Yeah. So it might have been good to have the Krark down. We will go to 6 on this, so that's pretty good for them. But we can leave up Breath Weapon this turn, or we can just play this Krark. Let's start with the Wellspring. See what we draw. Another Wellspring. I was going to say, actually, if we draw another Wellspring, then we just do that. Play the Krark. And we have 2 artifacts we're happy to sacrifice. So, since we're down to 6, we are in a rough spot. Like, could definitely die here, but they can't get us with anything, including haste this turn, except for like direct damage, and then we can flip the Tithing Blade next turn, leaving up some removal. So I think we might be okay. Opponent said this affinity list rocks, and I agree with them. And I draw a couple cards off our Wellsprings, wipe the board. Draw a Refurbished Familiar, that's pretty good. See what they got. It's a Blast Runner, okay. So let's just Familiar, draw another card. We draw a mountain. That's exactly what we wanted because this allows us to Tithing Blade to start gaining life, but also leave up our Galvanic Blast just in case they get like a removal spell for our familiar, or if they have another haste guy or something like that. And they concede. We are able to get there. Very nice for us. We're able to pick up a 4-1 on our first play of this deck. This deck is absolutely sweet. Shout out again to Teasdale for making a banger list. I'm probably going to play around with it a little bit more. It has the feel of Golgari Gardens, which is a deck that I really enjoy, but you get a little bit more varied removal, like being able to have both black and red was really cool in that Walls matchup, even if we didn't get there in the end. But also just being able to Monarch with, I think Crimson Fleet Commodore is a little underutilized. Yes, it dies to a lot of things, including your own breath weapon, so I get why it's not. But a 5-2 trample just kills your opponent dead so quickly, and it's pretty hard to argue that Krark Clan and Breath Weapon aren't some of the best board wipes in the format. And of course, the sideboard, Gorilla Shamans and Red Blasts are just absolutely key. So I think the deck's sweet, gonna keep playing it for sure, and thank you so much for watching.